Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, we got a great show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So, as you guys are aware, it's been a crazy last few days in the NBA. Crazy last few days. A lot of things have been happening. One of those things that happened was Stephen A. Smith signing a new contract with ESPN worth $100 million over the next 5 years. And that seemed to just totally get overshadowed by the incident that took place at the Lakers game. I think it was on Friday between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware of some of the comments that Stephen A. Smith has been making about Bronny James and LeBron James. And to be quite honest with you guys, I think it's a very strange situation that went down. And I'm going to tell you why. If you paid any attention to what Stephen A. Smith has been saying about Bronny James over the last 6-7 months, you'll know that he has refrained from saying anything about him. If you guys think back a little bit, you remember Stephen A. Smith saying, I never wanted to discuss him when he was in college. I never wanted to talk about it. I never wanted to talk about him because I knew all the pressure would come with him. I only decided that I'm going to talk about him when he became an NBA player. He's always refrained from discussing Bronny because he understands his health issues in the past and all of those different things. So it's not like as if he's someone that has had a bunch of strong opinions on Bronny James for the last 2 years. He just only started talking about Bronny this season. And for the most part, especially ever since the season started, he's been highly positive on some of the things that he's been saying about Bronny James. Very positive. It's been other people that have been pointing out some of the low lights of Bronny, while other people pointed out the high points of Bronny James. So Stephen A. Smith didn't even talk about Bronny. It was only, I believe, after a game against Philly, if I remember properly, where Stephen A. Smith decided to talk about him and his production. And essentially what he was saying was, to LeBron, he was like, Bronny doesn't seem to be ready right now, right? So just pity him, like he doesn't seem to be ready. Well, apparently those were the comments that LeBron James took exception with, and apparently that was the reason that he ended up confronting Stephen A. Smith at the Lakers game. Now, at that time, the Lakers were on, I believe, a 7-game win streak. Right? They were on a 7-game win streak going for their 8th game in a row in LA. And the Lakers had been red hot. As a matter of fact, they've been one of the teams that I've been making a lot of picks on ever since we got our brand new deal with our newest partner, Underdog Sports. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. The app is super simple to use. All you got to do is just make 2 to 8 picks on your favorite player stats and choose whether they go higher or lower, and you can 20x your money. Yes, you heard me right. You can 20x your money if you make 5 picks and you get all of them right. As a matter of fact, I made some picks over the weekend on the Clippers game, right? I made some picks on that game, and I did all right. I made a pick on Kawhi Leonard, which I want to show to you, to go, I believe, higher than 20 points. I got that wrong, 22.5 points. I got that wrong, but I did get James Harden right, where I picked him to go higher, and I picked Karl Anthony Towns right, where I picked him to go lower. So, look, it's a lot of fun. I've got it right sometimes, I got it wrong sometimes, but nevertheless, I still have a lot of fun. So if you guys want to get in on the action, visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store, which we have pinned in the comments below. And don't forget to register using our promo code DreamersPro to claim your free pick plus first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credit. So please make sure you guys go ahead and do that. We have that pinned in the comments. So anyway, that happens. And then just yesterday, I'm combing through the internet, and apparently some footage came out of LeBron James speaking to Richard Jefferson. You know, Richard Jefferson is former Cleveland Cavaliers teammate. I believe they won the championship together, if I'm not mistaken. Richard Jefferson, who works at ESPN. But essentially what happened was LeBron was speaking to Richard Jefferson about the Stephen A. Smith situation and the stuff that Stephen A. Smith was saying, and essentially why he went off on Stephen A. Smith. Now, what's unclear is whether or not that happened before or after that situation, but I'm going to assume it happened after the situation. So what we want to do is we're going to play the footage of that. It's not long, maybe, I don't know, 20 seconds or so, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a look at this footage here. So you heard what LeBron and Richard Jefferson was saying to one another, right? They were basically saying that, you know, once you got to the whole father thing and all of that, like, I just can't, right? Now, let's just assume that this happened after the altercation, right? Because if it didn't, then it's going to look like it's premeditated. That Richard Jefferson knew that LeBron was going to approach Stephen A. Smith, right? But if that's the case, then Stephen A. Smith really got blindsided, even by one of his partners working at ESPN, because Richard Jefferson didn't give him a heads up. But then Richard Jefferson probably has more loyalty towards LeBron James than he would Stephen A. Smith. But I'm gonna assume it was at the end of the game. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, because looking at that footage, it could also look like it was before tip-off. So if it was before tip-off, then it looks like Richard Jefferson clearly knew that, you know, there was Stephen A. Smith has some flames coming towards him, right? He clearly knew. If it was after the fact, then LeBron was probably just going to talk to Richard, probably because maybe people in the arena saw it, or people in the front row saw it, on the court side saw it, and therefore they were reacting to it. But essentially, LeBron was like, based on what I saw, he was just like, I was with you until the part you started talking about pity him as a father and all of that stuff. And that's when LeBron James kind of just said, look, enough is enough. You guys saw the footage. LeBron basically confronted Stephen A. Smith and told him, you know, keep my son out of this bleep, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith said in response to LeBron James, because we couldn't see his face, right? Here's what I think. Look, I think that Stephen A. Smith was clearly not expecting that. I don't think he expected to be confronted in that way, especially so publicly, in front of all of those people, to have LeBron basically walk up to him, because the footage I saw of some other footage that was later on released, I think there was like a timeout or something. LeBron was sitting there, and Stephen A. Smith wasn't too far from the Lakers bench. And then I guess LeBron just got fed up and was like, nah, I'm going to go say something to dude. And he stood up and just walked right over to him. It wasn't very far, like maybe 5-10 feet away from him. And then he went to go say that, and then Stephen A. Smith stood up and whatever they said. And then Stephen A. Smith ultimately responded by saying, you know, what LeBron said to him, keep my son out of this. Now, what surprised me was what Stephen A. Smith said in the aftermath of that altercation, basically saying that in this moment, it was a father that approached me. It wasn't a basketball player, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I didn't like what Stephen A. Smith said for a bunch of reasons. Number one, him saying that it's a father that approached me, wasn't a basketball player, makes it seem like as if, well, now we've set the precedent where, so basically all of these guys that are in the NBA, whenever you say something about them, all of their parents should now start running up on reporters and confronting them for what they say. Like, that's the first part. Like, so that's where we at right now? Because if you're telling me, well, he approached me as a father, then all the other fathers and mothers in the NBA should be approaching you, and all the other reporters on a night in and night out basis to basically go at their necks for saying something about their kids that they 100% disagree with. So is that what we're doing? Number one. Number two, Stephen A. Smith was doing his job. I don't think he was being critical of Bronny at all. Now, pointing out his stats and the how poor they were, is it Stephen A. Smith's fault that the stats are what they are? Like, he's just pointing it out. We do this about all the other players in the NBA. We've roasted players like Ben Simmons and others. So Bronny's above that. The question is then, why is he above that? If he's not ready to get criticized and praised at the same time, then why are you in the NBA? So I didn't understand Stephen A. Smith tucking his tail and running for the hills and, you know, he's my father, he's a father. And a lot of us were like, yo, bro, like, you should have stood your ground and be like, yo, I'm doing my job. Right? I didn't make it personal. If you heard anything that I said about Bronny that was personal, let me know, because I don't think so to me, I didn't get that part. But hey, y'all can make of it what you want. My question to the audience is, what do you think about this footage here, and whose side are you on in this matter? Are you on LeBron's side, or are you on Stephen A. Smith's side? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next episode, and I'm out. Peace.